Hello, beautiful sunshines. Welcome to Now That's Love.
With your favorite mother-daughter duo, Ashlyn and
Janae LaFleur, where you get to know thyself, love thyself, and become the best version of self.
because the greatest love story that you are ever going to tell is the one you create with yourself every day. Everybody.
Hello. Today we're talking about the continuation of letting go, and it's going to be the physical element in our homes and around us. And so out there on social media and YouTube, there's so many amazing videos on how to declutter. That's their whole entire YouTube is about decluttering. We're going to go deeper today on the levels of why we have clutter. And so we can break free from that and have it be more of like a past life. This morning, I had this impression of thinking of when we really do the work to declutter our homes and make it be very spacious and peaceful, we can look at the work we're going to do underneath and the reasons why we have clutter.
So, I realized that physical can also mean your physical environment or your physical self, but today we're going to be talking more about your whole physical environment, and also that being with your mental space as well. There's such a fine connection between our environment and also our mind. If your environment is your spaciousness in your mind. I remember my dad always telling me and my mom always telling me my room would be a mess. And that's how organized your mind is right now, is your physical space. So like my mom mentioned, we're going to be talking all about getting the clutter out, cleaning out the clutter,
Yes.
getting the gutter brain out.
Yes. And really, truly, the aha moments that we've learned of
Yeah.
the deeper importance of why this is a necessity to have a healthy
Yeah.
and
So,
intuitive life. Your spiritual evolution
yeah.
has to have it.
It's very true. It's like that all that that three connection, like I mentioned in the past episode, of the spiritual, the mental, and the physical of decluttering. Because if we have to do this first to be able to reach the destination that we really want in life. So why do we have clutter is, I think, the key question.
Okay.
Are you avoiding your feelings or issues in your life? I think that we need to kind of sit back and think about some things that, oh, well, I'm not going to enter that room because what's connecting to that with what you're avoiding?
Exactly. And so the big aha moment to take down right now is avoidance is the root cause of clutter.
Mm-hmm.
So avoidance is a root cause of clutter. And so have compassion for yourself in just knowing this, because so much of it, 90 to 95% of it, is your little self, your little child, your inner child self that has been programmed for the reasons, like trauma that's happened in your life, and neglect, maybe poverty, different things like that have happened in your life, are the roots of why you're actually doing the action steps to bring all this stuff into your home in the first place and hold on to it as if it's scarcity. So know that number one, the foundation is avoidance. So we will be doing in 2 more episodes, and we're doing a life transformational meditation on how to let go and go into the deeper roots of why. So you go in and heal that part. And as Ashlyn and I both have done the work on this, oh my goodness, you start to feel really closed in your space.
Yeah.
I cannot have all this stuff around me. It feels heavy. So
this past week, I've been able to throw many bags away in the past, but even this week I'm like, oh, I don't need this shirt, I don't need this toy that Malay has, he doesn't even play with it anymore.
right.
It also leads to difficulties in decision making, your motivation, and also your health whenever you're just having your whole life filled with just endless clutter of, it's like these collections of stuff and memories that are connected to it that honestly, it needs to be let go. You don't need that magnet from Hawaii. You don't need the 20 trillion purses. I mean, you only need one, and logically.
Well, right. Well, and that reminds me of one thing, and I'm going to add it into the story of that. The second aha is accumulation is the first stage of disease. There's 6 levels of disease, and it goes, accumulation is literally put your body in dis-ease. And then it goes into autoimmune and cancer. So literally having all this accumulated stuff around us is disease. Literally, our home should be peaceful and a place of spaciousness, not weighing you down. But the story you just told me, like when you said about 2,000 purses, that hit my head just right then and there, was a woman, a man that is out there that teaches about finances, and he's quite well to do. He married a woman that came from not very much money, and she was actually poor. And so when they got married, he basically like, whatever you want, you can have. She's like, I'm going to get this purse and I'm going to get this. And he said 6 months later, she came to him and they had gone to the beach. And she said, this doesn't bring me peace. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like a really expensive, purse bag. She's like, I am so worried about enjoying myself at the beach because I'm afraid that if I leave this purse, it's going to get stolen. And I'd rather have just a cute little handbag like back in the day, and I can go out and enjoy the beach. And if something, happens, it's not that big of a deal. And so are the items that we have, are they owning us? Are they taking away our peace? Why do we have that purse in the first place? Is it status acceptance? So I just wanted to bring that up. That just came to me.
Which we'll be definitely hopping into talking more about like our association and identity in the next episode when we go into the ego of why we have our stuff. I think, like you mentioned, we're going to avoid by social media, like we've mentioned, with food, TV, but your fellow Confessions of a Shopaholic over here.
And me. I taught her to be one.
Numbed out previously from binge shopping, getting that rush of getting those packages to our door.
Well, and she learned that was really one of my things. It didn't seem like at the time unhealthy until we got the bills. I was kidding. And then we were stressed out. When I got divorced, the money flow wasn't the same. And she would come home from school, maybe be kind of sad or whatever. And I would grab her in the car and take her shopping, even if it was Target, buy some little item. And then we were happy for a minute. And I don't know how many of you all would take your kids to like the dollar store. Oh, geez, it's only $1. Everybody pick out 3 toys.
I know.
And they literally probably, like, at least one of them broke before we even got to the house.
It's true.
So it was just clutter. It was crap. Yes, it was. Yes. And so the dopamine hit was real, especially leaving the abusive cycles of relationships I was in. Filling the void. And even in those relationships, when things were really in a place, I would have the TV on, and then something kind of got triggered me a little bit unconsciously within the whatever I was watching. And then before you know it, I'm grabbing my phone and I'm either on Instagram, like Ashley said, social media, or I was on Amazon, and they kind of had the same reels, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness, they know exactly what I need. And it's 40% off.
Those flash deals.
The flash deals. Especially around Black Friday and Christmas. I'm like, no way. This is 70% off. I have to have this blanket.
Fryer is $20. It used to be $80.
I just got rid of about 50 pair of running shoes. As we're getting ready for this, I'd use them, but I felt like there was, for me, spaciousness. It was a heaviness. And I might wear one of them once a year type thing because it's such a bright color. And I thought of this women's shelter where they have women that are getting out of prison and they get to have a new chance at life. They were hand selected and get to go into this home and be helped. And so for me, as I went through the decluttering phase, and Ashley and I had done this several times, But this time it was like, we want to know the deeper roots. And that's why we're sharing it here with you and the meditations that
Yeah,
we've done
we've
that
done
have
this so
helped
many
us.
times that we were like,
Yeah.
oh, we need to get down to the root of why we
Yeah.
do
Let's go to the root. Why feel like you empty out something, you get rid of like 20 socks, and before you know it, you bought 5 more. So, and you don't need them. So donating to like finding a women's shelter or a homeless place, taking your stuff, that can bring joy, and they really need it.
Like too, whenever you have a deep reason of why you're getting rid of this stuff, like
Oh,
helping others that need it more than you. I'm like,
yes.
here's my whole closet. Take it
Well,
all.
and you do, and then one thing that came to me is in the kitchen when I was going through, I'm like, there was a big sale on teas and little tea boxes, and I bought 20 of them because it was such a crazy clearance. And they're sitting there in my cabinet, in my kitchen, and then in this drawer. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take these to all my clients in the morning. I'm just going to see if they want a box of tea. And I don't need this. I mean, how long is it going to take me for me to drink all this tea? I've already had
Yeah.
it for 4 months. There's no way. Now we're going into the summertime, really. This will be another year, 2, 3. And so I took all the teas out of this little drawer, and I opened the thing, and I witnessed myself, literally. Here's an empty drawer with only one little box of tea, and a couple of little things, and I literally was hurrying, trying to fill it.
Mm.
And so it is a deeper thing, but catching yourself, being aware of it, and recognizing that it's actually, deeper rooted why we want everything to have it, like,
Yeah.
be filled.
Like, you keep filling up that space.
The emptiness
The emptiness.
within.
Exactly. You're right. The emptiness. It's like
Yep.
maybe a little emptiness inside.
Yep. And I think mine would stem from somewhat of the programming of scarcity. Like I was raised in a religion where we need to have 2 years supply of food, for sure 6 months. And I think that can be wise on some points, but my programming in my brain when I go shopping for food, and Ashlyn and I talked about this last night,
Yes.
that's the guilt free of like, well, this is a necessity of life. But then we grab 4 boxes of Cheerios or whatever, and because they're on sale, that scarcity mindset,
Well, the
and not
clearance
trusting.
gets to me all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, this box of cereal is 70% off. So let me grab 4. Are you really going to finish? Maybe
Well, we
in your
end
family,
up wasting
but for
it.
me and my family of 3, no, we're
Right.
not going to finish that.
Yeah, and me solo, it's going to go rancid. Something's going to happen. Like I'm going to be giving it away. It's a waste and it's gluttonous. And so just starting to be aware of that. But the dopamine hits of shopping and having the little package open, like pop at your door, and you feel like it's Christmas or your birthday, and you
And then
feel
you
that
run
little sense
inside
of
real
love.
quick as fast as you can.
Yes.
So you order another thing.
Yes. So the aha moment for me, number 3, was this is where it's coming subconsciously, is think about being a little kid and all the celebrations that we went to. There was the abundance of food, but like gifts. Think of the gifts. We've associated gifts with love and connection, and that's okay. But that's becomes a lot, right? Now you're being given like a ton of gifts from people. Now you have all these items, and then you have that lower level guilt that maybe that's not speaking to you item, or you don't, this came from my grandma.
Yeah.
And I need to keep it. And so I want to show something really quick. Little objects that we get. This was, I received my grandma's ring, a little plate for pickles from all the little celebrations. And I received this from my grandpa and grandma. When they went through their entire house, I was extremely close with my grandpa and grandma on my dad's side. And they helped raise me for a little bit. And so I have this. Now, this freaking brings me joy. Every time I see it, I think of my grandpa and grandma. But I have received items of people that have passed away that literally hit me in the gut. They hit me in the gut. I see a certain necklace, and I'm just like, it drains my energy. And it's not worth it for me to hold, like, 6 years later, I'm like, oh, every time I see this, it just really zaps my energy. And you think of it as an item and not having guilt to be able to give it away. And this is the one thing I have to bring in my mom's side. It's from Australia. and it's for my grandpa and grandma. And that's the only thing that I have. But this brings me joy too. When I wear it, I feel like very special. But um, I wear it on special occasions. And it's kind of like I was just thinking that this kind of might be like the purse of the lady on the beach. Because one time I was out and the little clips on it like snapped and I almost lost it. So now I'm like, I have not worn this like in 4 years because I'm like afraid I'm going to lose it. But I do look at it and have joy. Those are just two little things. I just decided to keep one or two things. And if something made me feel like, say you had somebody pass away and you have a pillow, maybe with a shirt, and it's on your bed of their shirt, but every time you have it's sad. You know, you miss them or whatever emotions you're going through. I thought about if my dad passed away that I'd have my children each get some, like a shirt of his. But as I thought about it and thought about it, that would tear me up every morning, seeing that in my closet. That would just tear me up every morning. So anyways, I'll
No,
go.
it's very true. I feel like a lot of, like you mentioned in the beginning, it's everything stems from our family, even just growing up. I'd be avoiding doing my own home because I had that reflection whenever I was little that we would run up the stairs as fast as we could because we didn't want to clean. I think we've all, whenever we were little, did that. It's just kind of like the thing whenever you're in school and they use like working out or physical like punishment, like, oh, you're going to have to go run a lap because you were absent or late during this class. So then you kind of look at working out or physical activity as a bad thing.
Mm,
And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm looking at cleaning my closet like a bad thing because I had to do it so much when I was little. And I'm not saying that like to let your kids do whatever they want, they shouldn't have to clean. But at the same time, I associated that together of like that, the nerves of my inner childhood of, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to clean. I'm going to bundle up and be scared and completely avoid this and not have to face it. So whenever we started doing this episode and we really walk through the steps with y'all as we're learning this, we do it too. We're not just sitting here and being like,
oh,
yep, clean up
the
your house.
evolution, right? And we've been doing it for years, right, Ashlyn? We
Yes.
declutter and the move and different things, but because so much of the work we've done is our inner child work and different things. This time, probably I would say maybe a year ago, I was saying I feel so closed in, and I just started getting rid of stuff. It was actually a little bit longer than that. Where
We
we
would get
needed to
rid
bring
of
this to you,
and like you
yeah.
said, it's like we wanted to fill back up those empty spots or fill up
Mm-hmm.
those empty hangers or fill up like the empty toy bins that Malay had. And I it's you're not getting down to the root of
No,
why you need to keep having more
right.
and more.
So that was what the meditation is going to help you all do. And Ashley and I are going to share a few stories um, here to maybe it might be relatable for you growing up, so
Mhm.
that it might get the process going of like, well, maybe that's why. So I share a story Ashlyn shared about when she was little and a person would come home and I would be in the kitchen and they all run upstairs so they didn't have to clean. Um, when I was 18, I'd been babysitting as a little, I think I've always been an entrepreneur, but there were ladies that I was babysitting for that asked me to come and declutter their house and it just helped them. And so now all of a sudden I had a business. I didn't ask for one, but I had a business and they were going to pay me a lot more to clean their homes. And so I had a lady, probably my fifth, I guess, customer person that hired me. I'd heard that she was pretty stickler, and I said, well, okay, I'll take the challenge on. And so the vacuuming had to be a certain way, and I cleaned even on top of her fridge and everything. Well, one day I was there, and she complimented me, and she told me I was the best cleaner she'd ever had. And I was like, oh my goodness, you have no idea the stress that's involved, like coming into your home. But she she had come, she ran in late. She says, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. She was kind of winded and she seemed aggravated. And she told me that her daughter, who was actually, you know what? I was younger than that. I was 16 because I was still in high school, and her daughter was a senior. So she told me that she had to go and get her daughter to come back, and I was not to touch her daughter's room. And she dumped out all of her daughter's clothes in every single drawer of her house, and they were quite well to do, and made her daughter come back and refold all those clothes because she hadn't folded two things right.
Oh, wow.
And as we were doing this, preparing for this episode and getting things together, I thought, wow, that might be, if any of you had a hypercritical parent on cleanliness, and you may be avoiding even wanting to clean or found yourself in the OCD realm.
Mm-hmm.
So just the thought of that, where if you're really criticized, you know, I wanted to bring that story into the
Oh,
picture
yeah, that's
because,
just bringing the connection with the perfectionism.
mm-hmm,
It's you're never feel like anything's good enough, so why even try? Sometimes I think that's where my brain
oh,
got, where
100%,
I'm
you're
like,
right.
everything. I was doing this even recently whenever I was organizing my closet. I'm like, I'm pulling things out, and some things I'm like, this doesn't have a place for. And I just literally, it's like my brain shut down. It's like that little girl version of me shut down and was like, I don't even want to freaking complete this anymore. Like, it's just too much. It's too much stuff. And if it's not perfect, then I don't even want to do it. And sometimes it feels very overwhelming if you have collected a lot of things throughout time. You start thinking, oh well, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I mean that's why we have clutter, right? It's like that.
Well, and we think about how much time we waste in our life and energy we waste by avoiding it.
Yeah. I think it's important to whenever you walk into your home, how do you feel when you walk into your home? You know, and like I think that your self-worth can be associated with your feeling of your home. Like a messy home, you if you have a messier home, it means that you have lesser self-worth because that's where you're avoiding in that moment, like in that depression state. I noticed whenever I was super depressed, I just didn't have energy to clean. That's where my brain was messy. When I was doing school and I was
Mm-hmm.
stressed out and very anxious, my house was a mess because that's where my mind was. I put that thing of, oh, I don't have time to clean it, but it really was just. I remember whenever I was little, you would tell us, just clean up as you go. You know, I had you in my head going through things, clean up as you go. And I tell everybody in that my house now that, and it's kind of cute because whenever I'm sweeping specifically, my mom knows exactly what I'm about to say.
I do.
Whenever I'm sweeping, I have my mom's head. Make sure you get that corner back there, because I was very avoidant when I was younger. It's part of like the disease of like being avoidant and like kind of going half ass on whatever you're doing.
Right.
So I would sweep, but I wouldn't get the corners, or I would do the dishes like in high school and I would leave the silverware. My mom's like, why are you just leaving the silverware? And then you're emptying out the dishes, just do that. And we ended up finding out that that's just part of like not completing, like finishing the full
So
thing.
part of something that triggers in our brain from trauma stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And also with me just taking the classes that I took in college, just about like child development and stuff. I also took a whole entire class, and this came to me whenever we were setting this all up, and like, Mom, I took an entire class about how to design a classroom and the environment that you're giving your students. Are they coming in feeling energized and happy? And because whenever you're walking into the classroom and you see a messy classroom, you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to do this. And studies have actually found that 66% of students that have clean desks get better grades. So just imagine that in your own life. A clean house, imagine what else you could do and be better at and evolve in just with the cleaner house. And also, they have less absences because, I mean, things are clean, so less kids are sick. You're in a better mood, and they have more focus because less stress. And I would like to associate that with our homes because, wow, like just based off of a classroom that they're in for 8 hours, imagine your home environment, what that can do for you. Just even for little kids coming in and having like everything clean. And I remember designing like, this is where the books go and like the feng shui and the energy flowing through the classroom. And I even
Very
had to
real.
do like a diagram of like where everything would be in my classroom for being a teacher. And even like the quiet corner. Do you have a clean, quiet corner in your house that gives you that good energy? And I mean, even like if it's your book nook or your kitchen table, wherever that little space is, which honestly, your whole house should be your peaceful, quiet corner if you really think about it.
Yes, as you walk in, you feel like you're welcomed into this place of peace and joy and just tranquility.
It's true. We also found out that the stuff underneath your bed, just another thing, because that's where we used to hide things, underneath our beds. Here's some shoes. Here's a little slide-in drawers. But that also ruins like the feng shui of your sleeping by having the energy circulate.
Yeah,
So whenever the energy is circulating as you're sleeping, it's stopping there.
right.
So just imagine what that can do to your life of it's kind of like the stuff we hide, like the monsters underneath our bed. We're hiding stuff underneath our bed.
Right. And in our closets, in the corner of this place, and underneath, like we have bedside tables, what's inside them,
Yeah.
everything on this earth is energy. And so,
Amen.
and everything that we go into our house is a story. So every single thing you look at, it has a story to it. It's an emotional story. So you can look at a card, you can look at a book, you can look at your blender. You see the blender, you think, oh, I would like a smoothie. I mean, you just have a sentence that goes along with it, right?
Yeah.
And so looking at what brings you joy and what still has use. And noticing as you look at stuff, I haven't used this for a year, and somebody else could. And that's the lack scarcity mindset of thinking you couldn't go get it again. And I mean, think about the things you have in the garage that are in bins that you maybe have had there for 7 years and you haven't missed them, but
It's
you're holding
true.
on to them just in case. The 20 bags or the free bags you got at Victoria's Secret. I have so many that I got rid of because think about all the women that could take on those purses and different things. But as my experience has been, and for Ashlyn, is the more that we've spiritually evolved and healed, is we don't necessarily want the heaviness of all this extra energy. So I want to show you something else before I know we're going to go into some more things, but
I love it. It's like show and tell today.
show and tell. This is an iPod or iPad. Yeah, iPod. I'm like, what are they even called? From what, 10 years ago. And I found it and I thought, well, this is kind of expensive, but listen, like I charged it and I can't get anything to work because it's from the iCloud music and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But somebody can refurbish it or whatever and have it. I've held onto this for 10 years, y'all. Like I have the Bluetooth, headphones, and when I listen to music all the time. And then I thought about how many of us have so we have like a Apple Watch or whatever, and we have all the different things,
Yeah.
and we hold on like this is worn and done. But I have a container of all my things, but why am I let's look, really? I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but it's worn out.
Remember too that me and you,
So it's fun to declutter.
We were so excited if we found something with a stain on it or like pit stains.
Oh my goodness. Going through our clothes, we're like, yes, it has a stain on it. Oh, this has a hole in it. Yes. And it made it easier. But yeah, making piles of like, this brings me joy. I feel really pretty in this. That would be my number one pile.
From it. It's so true. It's like if you're not going to, and I remember telling myself too, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll wear this then. Maybe I'll wear this if I get invited to be a bridesmaid. Like, come on. I am
right.
Not wear most
or like think of the people that are, when we're losing weight, all my clients, when I help them through the process of dropping weight, I tell them as soon as you're out of that size, it's gone. Don't eat it. It's gone. Because And that was my own journey. The reason why I told him that is that there was a time in my own journey when I had gained weight with diabetes and everything in 2008. And when I was losing weight, there was a point about 6 months where I started to gain the weight back a little bit because I was like the self-doubt, all these different things. And guess what? I did that walk and I didn't have those clothes to go back into. And I'm like, I'm not going to go buy bigger clothes. So get things right. So I tell him that part of it, but yeah, get rid of it. Don't hold on to it because someday, or even like the smaller size, every time you look at it, it's two sizes too small.
Oh
And
my
you think,
gosh,
I'm
I
going to
had
get
like
into it.
size 4 jeans after I gave birth to Malay. And I think if you are a postpartum mama out there, like your hips have expanded, things have expanded. We're not
Right.
going to fit into our high school body, and that's okay. I remember trying on jeans and I was practically crying after Malay. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've gotten, like my hips have expanded and this and this and this. And I was like, you know what? That is okay. My body is meant to change, especially as women, where our bodies are forever evolving. It's a beautiful thing that we're even able to create freaking life to
Oh,
begin with.
yes.
So what I did is I got rid of all those jeans. I'm like, I'm never gonna fit these again. I'm never gonna fit my size 34B bra ever again. Like my boobs have changed, my my hips, my butt, everything has changed. And so I think that's the where I stepped into also, like we said, gathering in more clutter because I was like, well, I don't fit this. Ooh, I can go on a shopping spree real quick and bought 20 more pairs of jeans after getting rid of 10. And no, I probably only needed max 5 more pairs of jeans. I'm not much of a jean girl as it is for myself. If you're a jean
Mm-mm.
girl, maybe you need 10. But I ended up being very avoidant and what I was feeling during that moment postpartum, like I've mentioned, with just like the grief of things. And you can buy things out of grief and not feeling enough. And that's why I went and ended up buying more because I was like, well, I need it. I need more jeans. These jeans don't fit me. And I went on a crazy like $500 shopping spree, buy everything. And yeah, I did need a few more things, but I did not need to accumulate as much as I did. It's
Right.
like the
It was,
psychological thing of
here's
I
the,
need,
yeah, you're putting your foot in the door because you actually need one or two pair of jeans.
yes,
But the emotional, where you were at emotionally
yes.
took you to the $500
That's
spree. And it's so interesting how we get so tricked up by our ego,
well,
the
talking
subconscious rootings that
more
can
about
empower us or take us out.
yeah, it's very true. It's like we can either get taken out by it or we can be like, I'm empowered. I can fit new pairs of jeans and I'm so happy. With Malay too, I even noticed that in his room, I felt a little hypocritical because I feel like all of us have done this as parents or even just to our siblings' rooms or um, you walk into somebody's house too and you're like, oh my gosh, their house is such a mess. I've never let my house be this messy or whatever. And I walked into Malay's room and I'm like, Malay, you have toys all over your floor. Why do you have toys all over your floor? Your bed's not even, your bed's all a mess. It has stuffed animals all over it. And your books are all over the floor. And I was just telling him, clean up this, clean up that, And he's like, I just cleaned this 10 minutes ago. Pick it up. And then I called up my mom, not even like 10 minutes after I walked into my room. It's great because I laugh at myself about so many things. And I walked into my room, and what did I have on my floor? I had books. My bed was a mess. I had clothes that all over my floor from laundry day that had been sitting there for like laundry day was a week ago. So it's been sitting there for over a week. And my desk was a mess and just everything. And I'm like, Mom, I think I swallowed a pill today because what example am I setting for him? I'm
Right.
over here, clean up this, clean up that this is a mess. And he's probably looking at me like, lady, have you seen your room lately?
If I could tell you words right now, if I could put my words together, I'm pretty sure I'm
Girl, he'd
following
be
your
like,
example.
it's true.
Right.
You're such an example for that. And
Yes. And as she was talking to me, I had an insight back to one of our episodes about codependency And us breaking free from codependency is, the journey of it. And something came to me was, why is it that when we have a party at our house or someone coming to visit, we go and we clean it?
Yes.
I mean, it looks good.
You're getting the baseboards.
Yeah. And so I would tie that into codependency, because we are more worried about what they think about our house than, like they're more important, people pleasing and than we are. And so if you can just take that and just really think, just let it be capsulized for just 1 second and really breathe that in. Do it for yourself first.
Yeah.
When we talk about the evolution of just being able to love someone more, you have to love yourself more to be able to love someone more. And so do it for yourself, the love for yourself, to create this space. And then the underwiring of the subconscious with meditation, and just seeing like what we're talking about here, hoping that you're having some aha moments, because clutter is a decision not made, leaving things undone, incomplete in our life. But ultimately it is the incompletion of an energetic and emotional level. And so we may not even know, like we've talked about, it's just subconsciously programmed. And so you get to make the decision, and you are the only one that can. And we are. And so it's been fun for Ashlyn and I to walk on this even on a deeper level. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. And I'm telling you, the more I've just released and let go of, and thinking, okay, well, they talk about scarcity, they talk about the guilt, they talk about like the emotional tie to something of it, our ego. Let's say I need to buy this item, I need to have this item because it's going to make me feel this way, or do this for me. And so as I walk through each thing, I'm like, wow, so much deeper decluttering this time. It wasn't just surface decluttering, and it wasn't even mid-grade decluttering. Also being able to walk the deeper level of awareness spiritually. Like Ashlyn would say, we
even have a tad bit of, we have just a smidge on our @Now That's Love page, post about just the shoes that you got rid of. And ended up getting rid of 7 bags, but I think I have 3 or 4 bags in that photo. And just the beginning video of me decluttering my room, I had a whole bottom rack full of clothes. I had a bottom and top rack, and that whole bottom rack was gone. And now doing it a little bit later on, I'm going through my clothes and just being like, nope, I don't need this. I don't need this. Even if you just start small, you don't have to rip your whole closet apart. You can even just take it in steps.
Yeah, do the baby steps. And I mean, we're coming from where we've done a process of it, but starting the baby steps of, does this bring me joy? And there's the clean sweep guy, the professional guy that's been on TV in America. And he said, as he walks through somebody's home, he would say, does this have a place? Does this have a place? When things are just all around, create a space for this to have a place. And do you use it? And does it bring you joy?
Yeah.
Do you use it? And some people are in smaller, tighter areas. And so let's say you're in a smaller, tighter area and you always use your air fryer, you use your blender on a daily basis, use your toaster, and you only have a little countertop. Well, that's okay. You're using it. Yes, it's taking up space, but you're also using it. It's not like you have another 5 items that you really never use.
Yeah.
Because
we didn't understand how much clutter we had until we went from a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom apartment after the divorce. And yeah, we got rid of a lot of things moving in, but it's like, you see that you were just filling these rooms with just a lot of crap most of the time.
No, and our garage was ridiculous. I had to get a garage to put so much stuff in, and that was the division of assets too. And so I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And then when we moved to San Antonio, got rid of a ton, and then moving out of the house in San Antonio, probably 17 bags. This is where I started to do as a holistic health coach, realizing that shopping was my out. That's when I really started realizing, okay, but I got rid of over 19 big, black, hefty bags full of clothes. I went and took it to a
Trash
women's
bags.
shelter, trash bags. And then I started to get rid of bigger items, jewelry. Yes, there was an emotional attachment to a lot of things, but I just felt like there were so many people out there that were needing stuff, and that I was going to stop the shopping, slowing that down. One thing that's coming to me is that notice in the awareness of when you're tapping out. For me, it was TV. Get on the
Yeah.
TV, get my phone. If I'm busy or if I'm enjoying like doing something creative or anything, I can get on my computer and design what we do on, like, this is one of the designs. I can do the design and just, it's an outlet. It's beautiful. But on the energetic level, something that Peter Crone, the Mind Freedom Coach, had mentioned, and he's very well known, is that on the energetic level, unless you have spaciousness within your home, like you create that spaciousness, your higher self, your intuitive, wants to create what you are meant, your dharma, what you are purposely gifted with. And all of us have a very deep creative side of us, but if we have so much around us that's taking up space, we're making it so we don't have the energetic space to actually create that. So as Ashlyn and I have been doing this, it's been amazing to see the creative flow even bigger than it was before.
Mind freedom that has come from it. Just we'll get more into it a little bit later in podcasts, but I've been having dreams. You've been having dreams of just letting go of like
the inner
all the
child,
relationship
subconscious.
ties. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's deep.
It was very deep-rooted.
Yeah, very beautiful. And so just so you know, it's only, we can talk, and we can talk as much as we want to talk about all this, and aha moments of, the avoidance is the root cause of clutter, accumulation is the first stage of disease, and clutter is decisions not made. But it's going in and deciding to take action. That your so-called, you can call it a little earthly past life self, doesn't want to have all this heaviness surrounding anymore, because you would like to step into your even higher self and start to create amazing things in your life and experience things, and not having to have so much of the time spent of having to always clean your house because you have so many objects. It's just,
I've always loved Jerome's outlook on this, and he's been like this ever since we've been together for over 6 years. And I remember moving in with him, and it was quite embarrassing now looking back on it, but I had over 12 big trash bags worth of just shirts, maybe a little bit dresses, but 12 bags.
oh,
To me, it was very normal because that's how
right,
I grew up.
because
I
you
was
grew up with a mom.
And he didn't even have a closet in his room. He had like one of like those stand-up closets that you can buy that was probably this wide, and it was just his shirts, and he had like his jeans all folded and his shorts, and he had like he had a drawer full of like his socks and underwear. That was it. And his mentality was, if I was to pack up and leave tomorrow and put it all into, could I put this in a suitcase and go? He had no attachment to his items at all.
Right.
And that was very admirable for me at that point, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't even imagine myself without all these shirts. It took me, sadly, 3 trips for 4-hour trips to go up and down and bring my clothes up. And I remember piling up the clothes, and he's like, oh, this is it. Like, these are your 4 bags. I'm like, no, I got some more bags back down there.
It's physically heavy and energetically heavy, right? I think that with Jerome's, that's just a higher consciousness process of thinking and being able to speak that out, because it's true. Oh, goodness. Ash and I said, was it yesterday that we said we just want to go give everything away?
Oh my gosh, I was cleaning out Malay's room, and I'm like, you don't need this. I'm like, why do you have an empty, like, it was something that you could put markers in. The markers were all dried up. I'm like, why do we still have this?
We're the ones that bring it into our homes, and so knowing we can close that door, we are the ones to take the action step to close the door. And that's why I tell myself, I'm like, Janae, you don't need that little cute package on the door or the big package. And I haven't for a long time, just so you know that. Like, this has been a long time that I have not like had all these packages show up. And I like to actually go to the grocery store so I can actually connect with people now. I love it. I love seeing the grandpas and grandmas, and if I can help
I
somebody
feel like
out, it's just
COVID
fun
took
for
that
me.
away for a while, just that
Hmm.
association.
Yeah. So yeah, bringing it in, that's as
This is,
cutting the ties. We're cutting different
I
ties of
remember
our
too
childhood.
that I also realized that while I was cleaning, I also had ADHD with being even furthermore avoidant
Yes.
and cleaning. And I realized, oh, I need to start the wash. So I threw the clothes in the wash, and then I looked down at my feet. Oh my gosh, the floor is such a mess. I go and get the broom. The wash isn't even started, but here I go getting the broom, and I start to sweep, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I forgot that Malay's car toy needs a battery. So I go on my phone real quick and order some batteries. And by that point, it's been 30 minutes, and sometimes it just keeps
Ash,
going. Sometimes it's an all day thing of being avoidant on cleaning. Nothing gets done. So remember
yes.
to complete those tasks and stop being avoidant. This has been just such a beautiful, beautiful episode for me, I think, to do because I feel like, oh, I've completed this. I've decluttered my house. And this past week, like my mom mentioned, we've just been chunking shit out of our house and just bringing that good energy into us because we want to put that good energy into y'all as well. Like
Right.
our atmosphere that we're in right now, we don't want y'all to soak that in through the screen. We want a clean environment to project that out onto y'all in here and in our physical environment.
Yeah. Not having our home become a landfill, of
Mhm.
objects because we're not enough. We
Yeah.
are enough. We all are enough. And it's really a beautiful relationship of self love as you walk through this. You're doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your family, but you're doing it to show up and say, I'm no longer okay with all this um, excess energy around me that's weighing me down and making me so I can't show up as my essence of who I am. That no more anxiety with it and depression, just a loving thing. And sometimes you might need a little boost to get this process. And there are people out there that are professionals in this and decluttering and helping you out. And they come in and do the joy. And so what we're here to do is to show you the meditation that's coming through that we'll be bringing, and how to go deeper into understanding why we've all done it anyways, competing with the Joneses and the scarcity and being with me growing up. And I'm grateful for how my parents raised me. I can do the full circle now. So I had an epiphany moment that a Christmas that, and we'll end here, but this is coming to me to make sure I bring this in, is that when I was probably about 9 years old, I went over to my neighbor's house and she had like the most amazing Christmas. She had gotten every gift I wanted. The big Barbie house and the little thing that you
Which
can
she
bake.
ended up here doing for me.
Yeah, the little take and bake little
Easy bake
things
oven.
that easy oven, yes. And she had everything. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like a best dream ever. And I went home and being little and not understanding how this could trigger my dad or hurt my dad's feelings. I said, how come she always gets everything she wants?
Mm.
She has the most amazing Christmases and we just get like clothes and like one thing or whatever. And don't get me wrong, they did great at Christmas. I had
Yeah.
a good Christmas.
8 kids.
8 kids. But being my little ego self and not enoughness,
Mm.
uh, he said to me, well, they use the credit cards and they're in debt and we pay cash, and left it at that. And I know that was a fire in him because he doesn't ever say anything about anybody. But I took it And with us doing the work on here, with what we've done, I had a full circle moment of why, when I went to college a year early, I 17 years old, I got my first little JCPenney's credit card, and I maxed it out the first day. I bought my roommate's panties. I bought my roommate's shirts. I was just buying everything, the low codependent in me, and also having the card, because I can have anything with a card. And that was a lower programming, a subconscious rooted programming, that to have stuff in life, use a card. Like if you really, it was that little girl, little girl that wanted that Christmas, that said, well, somewhere programmed wrong, that to have what we all want is to use a card. Like everything I wanted, I just needed the card. And so that causes anxiety and sadness and stress and fear that you're not going to be able to pay the cards off, right? And chaos. So you have the physical elements and different things in your home, but you also have the fire behind it, that now you're looking at a whole bunch of statements that you're like, what the crap?
Yeah.
So breaking free from that.
It's like Confessions of a Shopaholic, that movie. It's funny how as a little kid, sometimes you can laugh at movies that you watched whenever you were younger, and then you realize, oh my God, I became her.
Right. The green scarf.
My closet's full of random junk that I never needed. I never needed to pay this much for that. And yeah, watch that movie. It's great.
Yeah, it is good. It makes you realize, the standing next to the shop windows.
Yeah, her childhood was exactly the same. Remember, her mom bought her the frumpy shoes and saw that the older girls were buying things with the fancy credit cards, and she's like, that's what I want. Whenever I get older, I can buy the things that I want with that fancy card.
Yeah, and breaking free from that. Like, I want to pay cash for things, just doing your own story. But I've come to my own little past lives.
See why the deep roots of childhood and avoidance and anxiousness that all comes with the clutter that we have filled our homes with.
Surrounded ourselves with.
It's, do you just want to keep picking up stuff? Do you really want that? I found myself constantly cleaning up after Malay and myself, and I'm like, if I had 10 t-shirts, I would not be stressed about doing laundry. I wouldn't. So just sit back and notice what you're doing to yourself each day.
Right. There's so many people out there that have 2 t-shirts to their name. And not having guilt right through it, because that was a process of mine. I did take accepting the emotion, that each item makes you feel, and not beating yourself up in the process, and then reframing the story to take action, so that's ART, art.
Acceptance of where you're at.
Yeah. So lots of love, y'all.
I love this. I love this whole series that we're hopping into right now about letting go, because good Lord, have I been even letting go just so much on all the realms. So
this is what's helped us. That's why we're sharing with y'all, and always evolving. All of us, we're right there with you.
Comment below. Follow in the heart. We are just so excited. And then also, like my mom said, look at her amazing freaking shirt. Now That's Love t-shirt, Into the Woods, the eyes. I freaking love it. So check that out on our @Now That's Love page, and just support us. And we're here to support y'all. We love you guys so much.
This is an item that brings me joy. That's what we created. I want to add that as we were walking our own journey of having stuff, every item that we did create, we wanted it to bring joy. And like when you looked at it, it brought a memory of awareness that you're enough. Those type of sayings and mantras and different things. That's what we added this in. And Now That's Love. It's a love story for yourself, and remembering, but remembering that you're the awareness with the eyes, with Mother Earth, the trees that just speak to us in beautiful energy. That's why I created this. This is a one-of-a-kind design that I just wanted to put together for everyone. So that's what's on our Printify. It's not hers that roots you back into, oh yeah, that's right, that I'm doing the work and I'm remembering who I am.
So. I'm damn proud. Oh my gosh, right whenever you said that, the light literally came in. So, yes, ma'am.
To who I am statement, right?
Damn, I am. Okay. We're poets, don't you know it? Okay.
Right? At the end. It just
Yeah.
came through, the poet in us. Or you. Oh, much love.
I
And
love the
just,
aura around you right now too. It's like shining so bright.
well,
I really
same
feel like the
view.
energy of this podcast is just shining through. And
Oh, you're
this
beautiful,
is your
Ashley.
sign. If the light's coming in through my window, start decluttering.
It's coming down from above, y'all. It's your time. Release, let go.
Love y'all.
Much love.
Next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.